Rebates for details and timing.
KJ and Dondero with KJ Carson and Mark Dondero on WEEI. WEEI.
And streaming everywhere on the Odyssey app.
And here's something that was relayed to me, that if you were on the field for these sessions and you just closed your eyes and listened, you would know who the leading presence is for the offense among the coaches. The voices of Matt Patricia and Joe Judge standing above everyone else. They are leading this offense. Now, Bill Belichick hasn't said who is going to call the plays, but it will most likely be one of those two. And Laura, I got the number 2 pencil. I'm going to put it in the ear because I'm told don't be surprised if it's Matt Patricia, who always has that number 2 pencil in the ear.
Dear God, help us all. KJ and Dondero, WEEI. Thank you so much for starting your Sunday with us. That's Mike Reese talking about Matt Patricia, potentially the leading candidate to be the offensive coordinator for the Patriots. Shortly, in about 3 minutes, we'll get into the Patriots schedule that just came out this week. Mark, it gets worse. I made fun of that. It was Joe Judge, Mr. 4th and 9 and run. And now you're talking Matt Patricia? Jesus.
I'm not going to get all upset about it. I'll even go as far as to say I'm going to give it a chance. Do I feel good? I don't feel good. But I'm not. I don't know. Look, I just think that the New England Patriots, here's what it comes down to. I think the New England Patriots have so many more issues than offensive coordinator. It just doesn't bother me that much. Now, I am concerned about Mac Jones not having some, the stability necessary to really grow.
That's how
and
quarterbacks
progress.
Fail in this league.
Yeah, exactly. And that does concern me. But I also think that if Mac Jones is going to be the quarterback that we think he can be, he's not going to be derailed by the fact that they changed offensive coordinators or that the offensive coordinator doesn't have as much experience as you would like the offensive coordinator to have. I don't think any of that is going to be a big deal if Mac Jones is the quarterback we think and hope he is. Okay?
So check this out, Mark.
Yeah.
The year that Matt Patricia had his best record with the Lions and with Matt Stafford, the offense was 25th in points and 24th in yards. Like, this is the guy. This is the guy.
Yeah,
and he's the head coach, right? So if you're now becoming the offensive coordinator, you're going to do better than what your own offensive coordinator did when you were the head coach?
I can't. If you want me to sit here and guarantee that everything's
trash,
fine,
bro. It's trash.
Well, I don't know. I just don't know if it's absolute trash, and I also don't know if you bring in Bill O'Brien, if that was going to really do anything significant anyway.
At least he does offense. like this is the issue that I have. It's okay. This is a form of nepotism that's going on that's now bleeding through in areas. Like, I can understand Bill Belichick, a defensive guy, putting his sons on the defensive side of the ball. Okay, there are things you worked at the dinner table when you were kids, so forth and everything. Try it out. Learn from some people. Maybe you graduate. I get that. But when now you start putting one of your prodigal sons in charge of something that they don't do, and when they were the head coach of their own team, they didn't get it done. 25th in points, 24 in yards, 6-10. His last year, where he split up, where he was let go in the middle of the season, they were 20th in yards, 20th in points. Year before that, 18-17. Come on, this is not an offensive guru we're talking about. Like, how are you, again, answer me this. How are you the head coach of a team, you have a poor offense, and now you're going to be the offensive coordinator of another team, and you're not an offensive coordinator?
I don't know. Look, I don't have a good explanation for you.
It's like Joe Judge. Like, think about it. You heard what Mike Reese just said there. It's between the special teams specialist and a defensive guy to head up the offense.
Well, I'll just say this. If the offense sucks and if Mac Jones regresses, I will be first in line at the ripping booth. I will be ready to unload on the decision, on those men, on their performance, everything.
Bro, this is like getting on in crypto early. You can do it now. Trust me, you don't have to wait until, the price is too high and people are getting smoked by it. It's on its way.
Well, let me just say, look, if let's just say Eric Bieniemy got a head coaching job and left Kansas City, right? Okay. If they hired Matt Patricia to come in and be the offensive coordinator, Mahomes would be fine. It would be okay.
Yeah, because there's offense somewhere that still exists in the leadership.
But not just that, he's really good at quarterbacking the team, and he's got weapons, and Andy Reid is really innovative, and he's a good offensive coach. So it's more than just the offensive coordinator. So I'm not ready to just say, because Matt Patricia might be the guy calling the plays, that this is going to be an abject failure, an absolute disaster. I can't guarantee that. I don't feel good about it. I think the Patriots have bigger problems. I mean, if they go out...
What does your gut tell you?
My gut tells me that it's not going to go well.
Then it isn't going to go well.
But,
your gut's not wrong. It's not wrong on this one.
No, but I think my gut also says, if you brought in Bill O'Brien, my gut would say something similar. Why? Because I don't know if they have enough weapons on the outside for Mac Jones. I don't know if they're as dynamic as they need to be at wide receiver. That's why I don't think they're going to be good enough. Not because the guy calling the plays sucks.
So the Patriots' schedule was released. We already knew who their opponents were. It's pretty interesting. You got the Dolphins week 1, and that's going to be a challenge. That's going to be a challenge.
Yeah, they're going to lose that game.
They're going to lose that game. And then week 2, it's interesting that this is the Steelers game because most likely it's either going to be Mitch Trubisky or Kenny Pickett. I think it'll be Trubisky at quarterback. And I don't think that the Steelers are going to suffer as much as people think they are because of Mitch Trubisky. Sometimes quarterbacks, when they lay low and they used to be like a top pick and they go to a couple of teams and learn some systems and learn what it's like to sit and watch the game versus be dependent on doing something in the game, they can be more dangerous. This may be a trap game. I think the Steelers may win this game.
I have the Patriots winning that one.
And then the Ravens, I have a loss. And then at the Packers, October 2nd, that's your first 4 games. I think saying them, I put it this way, 1-3 is a push.
You think
0-4.
You think
I said 0-4.
No, I think they're gonna go 2-2. I think they're gonna beat Baltimore.
So then your argument about Matt Patricia, what I just said, do you trust your gut? Your heart is with the Patriots, right? Is that what you're saying? But your gut doesn't tell you that there's a chance the Patriots lose the first 4 games?
I don't think they're gonna lose the first 4 games.
At Pittsburgh?
No, I think they're gonna find a way to win. Look, I believe in Mac Jones. I think he's gonna take a big step forward.
Then your heart is in it.
What do you
That's
mean
your
my
heart. Yeah, your gut.
It's not my heart. It's my head. I'm thinking about what I saw, using my brain to think of what I saw in his first year and trying to, bring that forward. And I expect him to be better in his second year. So I think he's going to be pretty damn good. And I think that's going to get them to a point where they can win one of those 4 games. But your gut just told you that who's in charge of his offense, it's not going to go good. He's going to be the reflection of it not going good. I just told you I don't think that's going to make the big difference that you want it to make. I think if Mac Jones can play...
I'm saying this. If the offensive play calling is in disarray, you still believe that they're going to overcome it just by calling plays? Like, no, if the leadership of calling the offense is not going to be in place, again, this is where you really have to take your hat off to Josh McDaniels. Josh McDaniels did a yeoman's job to get Mac Jones prepared in a situation where there was room for failure. He got him situated to be a winning quarterback in a season where if he had a losing season, nobody would have been upset. Nobody would have been upset if the Patriots were 7-10 last year, but Mac outperformed. And that's credit to Josh McDaniels. I guess.
Or is it credit to Mac Jones?
Look, are you a believer that every great athlete needs a teacher?
I think offensive coordinators are overrated. I think that it's more of a consulting position, and you're only as good as your quarterback.
I think you're only as good as your coordinator.
Really?
Unless you're a superstar. If you're a superstar, then, that doesn't matter. But if you're not a superstar and you're still growing, everything is about your coordinator. Everything is about what goes on in film study and mistakes that you make in practice and how they're corrected or if they're corrected. That's maybe where Matt Patricia could at least put defensive eyes and say, here, Mac, here are your tendencies. Then that's where I'd say, okay, that's a little bit of Belichick genius. I'll give him credit for that instead of just completely ripping it. But if you're going to tell me that Mac Jones is going to grow because his coordinator is a defensive-minded guy who's never been an offensive coordinator, I just don't see how that math adds up.
Okay, so if you think that a coordinator is that valuable, okay?
For a quarterback, that's not a superstar.
Okay, but what if the quarterback was not... What if the quarterback...
Mac Jones is not a superstar.
But hold on a sec, though. What if the quarterback wasn't a superstar before the offensive coordinator arrived? Then be a superstar. Because I have one guy in mind, and I want to know what you think.
Well, give me the guy.
Josh Allen. Brian Daboll, before Brian Daboll, he was not a superstar. Brian Daboll comes in, he helps him out, he grows, he evolves, he becomes an absolute superstar. Now Daboll's the head coach of the Giants. What's going to happen now? He's gone. The offensive coordinator is a real important thing. Is he going to just fall off a cliff and be back to what he was because Daboll's gone?
Did he have Daboll for 1 year?
No, he had Daboll. Let me look it up. Daboll came in for a few years.
Yeah, so Josh Allen in his infancy got Daboll as his leader. Mac Jones had Josh McDaniels for a year. So now it's somebody new.
2018 to 2021, he was the Bills' offensive coordinator.
Okay, so he had him for 3 years. Mac has had Josh McDaniels for one, and now it's somebody different. The league is littered with guys when they get multiple coordinators, they seem to fall apart. Robert Griffin III is probably the most notable, right? Like his first year, he has Shanahan. Next year, it's somebody. Next year, I think it's like Gruden. Then the next year, Gruden becomes the head coach, and it's somebody else. And look at he just became nothing.
But my point is, Daboll helps bring Josh Allen along. And if the coordinator is so integral to that kind of process and the success, you're saying you don't expect him to drop off, Allen, because Daboll's gone?
Well, no, because I think at the same time, because he turned him into a superstar. Like, do you believe that Matt Patricia can turn Mac Jones into a superstar quarterback? I think if he's the offensive coordinator. Or do you believe that Joe Judge can help him become a superstar quarterback?
I think if you're a superstar, you're going to become one whether or not your offensive coordinator sucks or doesn't.
Okay, so do you believe that Mac Jones will become a superstar?
I don't think he's going to be a superstar, no.
Okay, then the coordinator is going to matter. It's going to matter. Like some people just need a little more coaching to be efficient than others. That's
sure. I mean, it would obviously help if they're good. I just don't think it's gonna be the difference between Mac Jones taking the Patriots to the Super Bowl and having him be a superstar, or Mac Jones being a star and they get into the playoffs and they maybe win a game every so often, but they never really make a run. I just don't think it's that big a deal.
617-779-7937. It's KJ and Dondero. Let's go to Stephen Revere talking about maybe it's beyond just at the field with the Patriots. Go ahead, Steve.
Yeah, I think Mr. Kraft has a lot to do with this. You know, letting those guys come over because they don't have to pay them, Judge and Chubby, forget about it. I don't care if they're buddy-buddy with Belichick or not. Both of them failed at their job before. They're not going to get better now. There's no way. Mr. Kraft should have stopped this crap before it even got started. 2 months ago, 3 months ago, he should have said no. You need an offensive coordinator. Doesn't the offensive coordinator design the offense according to what personnel you have? Things have to change. You can't keep the same offense. Josh is gone. You're not going to run the same kind of offense. Brady's gone. You're not going to have somebody look at the line and throw those little dots and control what's going on. You have to have somebody designed for your personnel. And Mr. Kraft cheaped out. As usual, it's too late to do anything else. They would have got lucky maybe if O'Brien came over. At least he knows what the hell he's doing. They just disgust me, the way they play nickel and dime, and then you can't find out anything about it. That's the most frustrating part. He won't own up to anything. Belichick will just clear his throat. Yeah, okay.
Thanks for the call.
That's right.
I mean, so you remember how I pulled out Matt Patricia's numbers of what his offense did when he was the head coach of with the Lions? It's worse with Joe Judge. 31st in points, 31st in yards, both years. These are your two guys battling over your second-year quarterback who has great potential to be a high-level quarterback in the NFL, and you pretty much have Mo and Curly battling out, two of the three stooges.
Yeah. Look, I just feel like it's just not the most important thing. It matters. It's just not the most important thing. You need the guys on the field to produce. I need Mac Jones to be competent, and if he's not, they're going to be bad either way if Mac Jones turns into a fraud or if he's not as good as we thought.
I don't even think he's going to be a fraud. I think this time of uncertainty, because I think the certainty of last year, you'd say, you know what? out of all the rookie quarterbacks last year, who was going into the best situation to learn? Maybe not necessarily to produce, but to learn, and that was Mac Jones, because you had a high-established offensive coordinator who's been a head coach, who oversees offenses, right? Look, when Josh McDaniels went to Denver, he was still in charge of the offense. So you have a person who that's all they do. When you're a new guy coming in, you don't want, there's some places where you I love headphones, right? I'm not going to go to the store that's called Five Below and say I'm expecting really great quality headphones, but hey, I can get them in there. And that's like Joe Judge and Matt Patricia. Well, yeah, technically they're headphones, but they're not high quality. I want to go to one of those places where they got those big systems and I could plug them in and I could turn the wattage up to 11 just to hear how it comes through my headphones. And if I've got to pay $300 for them, and this is what Steve is saying about going on the cheap, if I got to pay $300 for the headphones, then at least I know I'm getting quality, and this is what they do. This is a problem if Joe Judge and Matt Patricia are battling out, duking it out for the future efficiency of Mac Jones.
I'm not saying that the OC doesn't matter. I think there are things that matter more, and I think those are questions the Patriots are going to have to answer. And I think it would benefit the Patriots to have weapons and more capable wide receivers than a really good offensive coordinator. So that's why I'm sort of, I guess whatever on whoever is calling the plays, because I think they're going to come up short in the passing game because I don't think they have what it takes outside the numbers at that position to give Mac Jones the adequate help. I mean, maybe Tyquan Thornton will surprise us. Maybe he turns into a stud. I don't know. But if he doesn't.
Let's not stop going up and down the roster when we know the problems at the top. We know. We know. They didn't go get top-notch people.
Yeah, that's what they need. They need top-notch people, and I think that's going to matter more. Not having those guys is going to matter more than the coach. Sure, the coach is going to matter, but it's just there are other things that are bigger deals that I think will impact this team more and will contribute to any struggles that Mac Jones has more so than a coach or an offensive coordinator.
You're checking out KJ and Dondero on WEEI 617-779-7937. Let's go to Dan in Rhode Island. Wants to get in on some of this Pats coaching talk. Go ahead, Dan.
Good morning. Hey, Mark.
Hey, what's up, Dan?
One Bergeron thing real quick. I don't know if anyone noticed this. You had to stay on after the game, and I don't know if this is protocol. You know how they always shake hands at the end of a series?
Okay, I'm going to stop it for a second. I got to pause for a second. Dan, every time you call is just like, hi, Mark. Say hi, guys, and keep it going.
We have a relationship.
Mark, I'm a Saturday guy. Mark will explain to you.
He has ridden with me from the beginning. I'll tell you more about this later, KJ. It's a great story.
All right, KJ, what's up, guy?
There you go. That's it.
All right. One thing. So after they shook hands, and I don't know if this is protocol for a team, Bergeron greeted, when they were going off the ice, Bergeron greeted every member of the Bruins on the way out and gave him a big hug, and a very long one with Marchand. I don't know if that's typical or if he knows he's done, they know he's done, and that was his last game. You know what I mean? It was a very long embrace with a few players.
Yep.
I don't know if anybody saw it because you had to watch the game.
I saw
for
it. Yep.
I didn't know if that had happened last year or since he became captain. I don't remember that.
I don't know if a captain does it, but it was, considering the circumstance, it was, who knows? I guess we'll find out soon enough. And for the Patriots, I agree with both of what you guys are saying. And, last year was a great situation. You took the 5 quarterbacks. Everybody said Mac Jones was the last one taking. He had the best year because he had the best situation, like you just said, KJ. Now, I think moving forward, I don't think the Patriots are the best situation anymore. If he was going in his 3rd or 4th year, I could probably roll with this the way they're doing it right now. But I think there is something to the fact that either Judge Patricia or whoever is a pimple on the ass of what Josh McDaniels was able to do. And it's not just about, you got to identify the strengths. You have to adapt the game plan, and you have to get in the flow and the rhythm of calling a game. Neither of these guys have ever done that before. I think it is a huge factor in determining, what Jones is going to become. And Mark, you're right too. The Patriots have not given him a lot of weapons like they should have. So it's twofold. It's the coaching and it is the weapons.
Dan, thanks for the call.
I don't think he's in a good situation at all right now at all. Take care, guys.
Hey,
Thanks,
anytime,
Dan.
man.
Like, just to piggyback off of that, that's my point, though, is if he did have weapons, adequate weapons, a bona fide number one wide receiver, a slot guy that could produce on third down, a chain mover, then you combine that with Bill Belichick as your head coach, I'm not so sure you wouldn't say that isn't the best situation.
Well,
Belichick as the head coach,
that's how they handled Josh Allen, right? That's how they handled Josh Allen. They got him a superstar weapon, and then they built more weapons around him. And so, but, so again, this is an upstairs thing. I don't think it's a player thing. Let's go to David in Rhode Island. He doesn't think the OC matters. It's on the quarterback. David in Rhode Island, you're on WEEI.
Hey, thanks for taking my call. Yeah, I don't think the OC matters at all. I think it's always the quarterback. Look at Josh McDaniels. We're giving him so much credit. He had Tom Brady all those years.
Wait, I have to stop you there. I have to stop you there. I have to stop you there because Tom Brady had already won 2 championships before Josh McDaniels got here. So Tom Brady's more tied to Charlie Weiss than he is more so than.
Yeah, but he's talking about the production as far as a play caller.
Yeah, but again, what we were just saying before is once you get 2 or 3 or 4 years in, you know how to roll with it. Mac Jones is not 3-4 years in.
Right. I hear that. What about Cam Newton? How come he couldn't do anything with Cam Newton?
Because the body was washed up. Like, I mean, if you give me a car with 3 wheels and say go pass inspection, what happens?
All right. I think Mac Jones did good last year because Mac Jones is good, not because Josh McDaniels. I don't think it matters.
David, thanks for the call.
See, I subscribe more to what David is saying. I don't think it matters. I do think it matters, but I think along the lines of the way David just outlined that. When you look at how it went, and you're talking about the development, that's fine. But Bill Belichick is still there. So I'd like to think if it's the quarterback, that's the freaking most important position on the field, arguably in sports. Belichick, if he's the GOAT and all those things, he's going to have a significant say and significant impact on the development of Mac Jones. So I still feel good about that. But ultimately, yes.
Here's what proved that if Mac Jones is heading in the right direction. Those first 4 games that we mentioned, Miami, week 1, at Pittsburgh, week 2, Ravens come to town for week 3, and at Green Bay week 4. If the Patriots start the season 4-0, then I would say, you know what? I was wrong. They've been able to communicate something, and maybe it's bigger than the coach's room than it is a young player. I'll be the first one to stand on that hill. I certainly would. It's KJ and Dondero. The show wraps up next here on WEEI.